Hello and welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40k lore reimagined with AI. In this video, we will explore the ancient and mysterious race of the Eldar, also known as the Eldari. The Eldar are one of the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, but they also have a tragic history of decadence and downfall. We will briefly review general lore about them today. Along the way, we will also show you some AI-generated images of the Eldar created with Midjourney. If you want to support the channel, leave a like and subscribe with the bell. Now sit back and enjoy this journey into the mind and soul of the Eldar. The Eldar are an ancient race of elf-like humanoids. Once they dominated the galaxy but are currently a dying race. After the fall of the Eldar, they lost their main homeworlds and are currently scattered among the stars and Webway in different factions and allegiances. The Asuryani inhabit planetoid-sized vessels known as craft worlds. The Drukkari inhabit an ancient city within the Webway known as Kamarag. The Exodites inhabit verdant maiden worlds, and the other Eldari travels the galaxy as outcasts, renegades, corsairs, and pirates known as Anwraith, and several other groups and subgroups exist throughout the galaxy. Superficially, the Eldar appear very similar to humans, though they are generally taller and slimmer, with sharp features and pointed ears. They are long-lived by human standards, and most will live more than 1,000 years unless they die from accident or disease. Eldar also have much faster metabolic rates than humans, and their cardiac and neurological systems are more advanced. These traits manifest in their vastly heightened reactions and agility compared to humans. To them, humans seem to move in slow motion with a certain degree of awkwardness, while to humans the Eldar can move with distracting grace and can be blindingly fast in combat. As a race, they have a high level of psychic ability, which serves as the foundation of their technology. The Eldar that actively cultivate their psyker potential seem to exhibit a much extended lifespan as well, one proportional to their prowess. The farcers of the Eldar can live for several thousand years. Eldar seem to reproduce in stages, with new genetic material being added by the father to the developing embryo over an extended period. This process is ill understood, but Eldar autopsies are suggestive of it. It is however known that the Eldar gestation cycle is much longer than for most other races. The existing Eldar are essentially a refugee population, the scattered remains of their former strength and power. Even in such straits, however, they are still a powerful force in the galaxy. Once, 10,000 years ago, the Eldar were among the most powerful and dominant races of the galaxy, dominating a significant portion of the galaxy and secure in their prosperity. Although there were other races of advanced technology and military power, none were in a position to seriously threaten the state of the Eldar nation. When it came, the disaster was internal. Consumed by arrogance and with no need for substantial work or labor, the Eldar began to pursue any curiosity or desire. Rapidly, cults devoted to exotic knowledge, physical pleasure, and ever more outrageous entertainment sprang up. It did not take long for many of the Eldar to take a darker path, descending into dark study, instant fulfillment and unbridled violence, beginning the fall of the Eldar. Many of the Eldar grew uneasy with the actions of their comrades, and the wisest of the seers warned that the path could lead only to evil. Disgusted, some of the Eldar left the central worlds of the Empire to settle on the outlying regions, while others stayed to try and alter the path their race had taken. While this would have been destructive within any society, it was even more damaging for the Eldar. Within the parallel realm of the warp, the psychic emanations of these activities began to gather, strengthened by the souls of departed followers and cultists. As the Eldar vices grew, this collection did as well, until it eventually came into a life of its own. It finally came to consciousness as Slainish, devourer of souls and doomed to the Eldar, for the psychic scream of its birth tore the souls from all the Eldar within 1,000 light years of it. Its awakening was so forceful that it tore a hole between physical space and the warp, plunging the Eldar homeworlds into a limbo of partial existence. This region is now known as the Eye of Terror. Craft worlds are vast craft populated by Eldar. They travel through the void of space at sublight speeds, carrying the greater remnant of the Eldar race after the fall of their civilization. Each craftworld is a self-sufficient, independent realm with its own culture. Craftworlds are in many ways living entities, powered by psychic energy from its infinity circuit and responding in an organic way to the stimuli of psychic forces. The power within a craftworld can be expended as light or heat, and most craftworld technology could not function without this psychic power grid. The Exodites are a large group of Eldar who fled their homeworlds before the fall and the creation of the Great Enemy. They preached out against the changes in Eldar society, but were ignored or treated as narrow-minded. They are also generally a more accepting people, taking in Eldar outcasts where craftworld Eldar would push them away. They are supported mainly by Biel-Tan and are often protected by the forces of that craftworld. Harlequins. Harlequins are followers of the Eldar god, the Great Harlequin, also known as the Laughing God, who was the only one of the two Eldar gods to survive the fall. They move throughout the Webway in groups and perform impressive displays of mime and acrobatics, telling the many strange and wonderful stories of the Eldar past, but also the dark and dangerous plays of the fall. Harlequins are not only performing artists, but devastating fighters as well. They will appear to fight with their Eldar brethren, particularly in close combat. Their primary task, however, is to guard the Black Library of Chaos from intruders, and have done so ever since its inception thousands of years ago. They rarely communicate with members outside of their group but will call for help if intruders do overwhelm them. Drukkari. The Drukkari are a kind of Eldari, an ancient and advanced race of elf-like humanoids. They are also known as the Dark Eldar, a term coined by their supreme leader Asdrabeel Vect. They are sadistic, malicious and cruel, and they revel in piracy, enslavement and torture. They feed on the souls of other sentient beings to stave off the consumption of their own souls by the chaos god Slaanesh. They live in a massive city-state called Komarak, which lies within the Webway, an interdimensional labyrinth that allows them to travel across the galaxy quickly and stealthily. They use advanced anti-gravity skimmers and other technology to launch high-speed raids on their enemies and capture slaves. They also sometimes work as mercenaries for other races. They are different from their cousins, the craftworld Eldari, who follow a strict path of discipline and restraint to avoid the temptations of Slaanesh. The Drukkari are more physically strong and agile than the craftworld Eldari. They also reproduce mostly through artificial means, rather than natural birth. Other smaller factions include Inari. The Inari are a new faction of Eldar from all other sections. These are the followers of Iniad, the newly awakening Eldar god, and seek to destroy chaos. Chaos Eldar are extremely rare, and by far the most damned of their race. Utterly at the mercy of their chaos masters to prevent their soul being swallowed by Slaanesh, they are unacknowledged and forever forgotten by their kinfolk, their souls eternally barred from peace. Inspiration. The name Eldar comes from J.R.R. Tolkien's elves, who in their own language were called the Eldar. The history of the Eldar in Warhammer 40,000 mimics that of Tolkien's elves, to the point that they are a dwindling race in the game universe. As the elves were in Middle-earth's Third Age, inspirations for aspects of the Eldar come from different real-world ancient civilizations, ancient Egypt, Celtic, Greece. There are also parallels between Eldar culture and that of feudal Japan, in particular the samurai. Kain, the god of murder, is also analogous to the Hindu goddess Kali. It is likely the designers wanted to give the impression of an ancient culture to the Eldar, in the sense that Warhammer 40,000 races are derived from the earlier Warhammer fantasy game. Eldar are derived from High Elves, except for Exodites, who are the equivalent of the Wood Elves. Dark Eldar are the equivalent to Dark Elves. That's all for today's video on the Eldar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Also, let me know what other topics you would like us to cover in the future. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.